All Blacks star first five Beauden Barrett, as we've said, who's been in extraordinary form so far this year, is to stay with the All Blacks until 2019 after announcing today that he's re-signed with the Hurricanes in Super Rugby, Taranaki in provincial rugby and New Zealand rugby as his umbrella employer. Remember, 2019 is Rugby World Cup year, that's in Japan. Barrett, who's leapt over Aaron Cruden as the long-term first-choice replacement for Dan Carter, it seems, is not the only person with his surname receiving attention in New Zealand rugby. His younger brothers, Scott and Jordie, are turning heads in provincial rugby's Mitre Cup. Denise Garland reports.
Beauden Barrett made his All Blacks debut in 2012, but it's been the past 2 years when the 25-year-old has really stamped his mark as one of New Zealand's best. Barrett was pivotal in the Hurricanes Super Rugby title win this year, but his stellar performances had fuelled speculation he might be lured overseas or tempted by an offer from another New Zealand franchise. Barrett says for him there was only one option.
It's been a no-brainer for me. You know, it was clear in my mind right from the start, although there was a little bit of speculation. You know, particularly after the season we've had, the last 2 seasons we've had, it's really exciting with the core group of players we have and the talent that's still around, so yeah, I'm stoked to extend it for another few years.
The Hurricanes chief executive, Evan Lee, says his resigning is a coup for the Hurricanes.
It's massive. We had a conversation with Bodie several months ago, and he gave a strong indication that he wasn't looking anywhere else, and we've taken his word on that. And it's great to see B Barrett on the piece of paper, but we pretty much knew he was going to be with us, and kind of speaks volumes for the guy he is. He could have gone anywhere, but he's happy to stay here and play for us and the All Blacks.
Barrett comes from a large family with 4 brothers and 3 sisters, and 2 of his younger brothers are making their own waves down south. Scott Barrett, who plays lock, is just 22 and has signed with the Crusaders for the next 2 years, playing his provincial rugby for Canterbury in the Mitre Cup. He's joined in that Canterbury squad by the even younger Jordie Barrett, who at 19 played second 5/8 for New Zealand at the Under-20 World Cup in June. Beauden Barrett says he hopes to convince his brothers to make the move north to join him at the Hurricanes in the future.
It'll make my parents' life a bit easier, but I guess my brothers are leading their own lives and creating their own pathways, and they're both playing some good footy, so whilst they're big boys, they can make their own decisions. It'll be great to have them in a Hurricanes jersey or even the Taranaki jersey one day, so I'll be putting a bit of pressure on Jordie in the next couple of weeks.
Barrett says his agent was approached by some overseas outfits before he signed on for another 3 years, but he never entered into any discussions with them. New Zealand Rugby's chief executive, Steve Chu, says they've tried really hard to make it as attractive as possible for stars like Barrett to remain in New Zealand.
The landscape's been challenging for a long time, hasn't it? We're fortunate that we've got a new collective in place that has some increased revenue available for us to contract players with, but the French market, as we've said often enough, is completely out of control, but we can just deal with what we deal with, and that is to create an environment both within the All Black camp, but I think more generally in rugby to keep these guys here and make them want to play and stay in the country.
Steve Chu is keeping quiet about just how much money they spent on retaining Barrett, but says re-signing the young star had been a priority for New Zealand rugby. For Checkpoint, Denise Garland, DNA.